Reviews, your boy Captain Mal here.
Well, they call me Whippin' too, Captain Mal.
Oh, nice to meet you. And today we're bringing you our official review for Dark Phoenix. So, Dark Phoenix is the final installment of the X-Men franchise, at least the Fox version, brought to you by Fox, 20th Century Fox. It is the sequel to X-Men Apocalypse, and it is currently the worst reviewed X-Men movie in the franchise. It opened to the lowest domestic opening of any of them, including the original that came out damn near 20 years ago. So I guess, you know, as always, we're going to keep this first part spoiler free, and then we'll dive into spoilers later. But the big question is this the worst X-Men movie in the series?
I don't believe so.
You don't think so?
No.
Is it a good movie?
I think it is a good movie. Let me say, there's a couple things that I loved about this, a couple things I hated about it, and some stuff that was somewhere in the middle. I don't think it was a horrible movie. I think if you just came into this as the first X-Men movie you ever saw, and you just walked, hey, what's this movie all about? You walked in and saw it. I think you'd say, oh, that's all right, that's a pretty good movie. But I think there's a lot of other stuff that bothers me that has to do with a bigger scope of things. What do you think?
So, is it the worst movie of the X-Men franchise? No.
No.
Is it the best movie? No. Is it a good movie? No. It is definitely a movie.
It is a movie.
We can say that for sure.
I've seen worse movies this year.
I have too. I've seen a lot worse movies. Okay, so let me preface this by saying I love the X-Men. I'm a huge X-Men fan. X-Men was one of the things that first got me into comic books. It was one of the original, comics I started reading. The '90s cartoon I love. I love
it. They kicked off the Marvel character. They're the first Marvel characters to come on the cinema and start doing pretty good movies.
There were other comic book movies came out before, but they were the first true blockbuster. Right? X-Men back in 2000 was the first comic book movie that paved the way for what we have now. So we really owe a debt to this franchise, right? And there's been some really great movies, and there's been some really, really bad movies. But in Weapon 2 also, we love the X-Men, right? We really, really do. We have a deep connection to it. And I think you're right. You kind of made a good point there. If you just walk in cold and you have no connection to the X-Men and you've never really seen any of the other movies, you wouldn't really hate this. And I didn't really hate this, but I was bored. I was bored through a lot of the movie. The writing was stupid. Again, we go through and we've made fun of the lack of continuity that Fox has within their own franchise. And at this point, it's just sad because there's a gigantic, glaring freaking plot hole that I was just like, okay, well, we're just gonna pretend that didn't happen. The acting was okay. Sophie Turner as Jean does her best. She tries. She's actually pretty good in the movie. It's just you don't care about anything that's happening. At least I didn't. Fassbender and McAvoy, I've said before, as Magneto and Professor X, respectively. They're fantastic. They're great. Again, they're good in this movie. They're just not in a very good movie. Without getting too much into the plot, I will say there is a plot. It's not what I thought it was. It's kind of weird and it's kind of boring. What they do in terms of bad guys and villains, again, they were boring and uninteresting and I didn't care. The fight scenes were okay. By the end of the movie, to me, it was did the X-Men franchise as we know it go out with a bang? No, it kind of went out with a whimper. It was just below okay. It wasn't completely terrible. It wasn't average. It was just under average for me. I have no desire to ever watch it again.
I agree.
Anything?
I mean, if it came on TV and I was sitting there, I'd probably sit and watch it on TV or something. I don't know. I can't say I wouldn't ever.
I would probably watch it for a little bit and then try to find a better movie. It's not. So if I had to rank all the X-Men movies, it's definitely better than X-Men: The Last Stand. It's definitely better than X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah.
But then at about that point, I think I would kind of put it there next. I think everything else is better than it. I think the last movie, Apocalypse, which wasn't very good, I think there was a lot more going on in that movie that was interesting at least.
Yeah.
This movie when there's not an action sequence, it just dragged. There was nothing interesting that was happening.
Right.
And I thought they had opportunities. There were moments that I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I wonder if they're going to expand on that. And they don't. I feel like they could have gone to some interesting places with it, and it almost seemed like nobody involved cared. Like nobody, like they knew this was the last one, and then it was like, eh. The climactic battle really felt like the battle that was going to lead up to the end of the movie. You know, if that makes sense? It felt like that was leading to the big, awesome final battle, and then it just ends, and you're like, oh, fuck, okay, that was the end of the movie. Shit, alright. But yeah, so I can't really say much else without going into spoilers. It was okay. It was a subpar X-Men movie. I wouldn't go, if I were you guys, I wouldn't go spend money on it, and I would just wait for it to come out on Redbox or something.
I feel about the same.
Yeah, there's no need to go to theaters to watch it.
Right. There's no big payoff to go see it. It's not even like some spectacular visual thing.
Yeah, because lots of times, you know, even if a movie's not great, if it's like a big spectacle and like an amazing like thing to watch on a big screen, I would still be like, oh, fucking watch it in theaters though. You know what I mean? This, no, you don't need to do that at all. But, alright, so I think that's going to do it for the spoiler-free section. So, spoiler alerts. Weapon 2, what did you think of the plot of this movie?
I want to hear you tell me what you think your biggest plot hole was, because I'm wondering if it's the same thing I thought.
Well, there's a few, but the one that really, really bothered me, so we've talked about this in depth, and we did some trailer reactions to this movie, and we just talked about it, and we're talking about the franchise in general, like lack of continuity, and so they've done the Phoenix saga before in X-Men The Last Stand, not very well. One of the things that we both agreed we didn't like in that movie was that the Phoenix Force, which in the comics is a cosmic entity, a cosmic sentient being that inhabits Jean. In that movie, it's just her. It's just a power. She's just this uber, like, OP character, and she was repressed, and it comes out, and shenanigans ensue, right? So, at the end of the last movie of X-Men Apocalypse, the way they defeat Apocalypse is Xavier being like, Jean, like, let go, unleash you, whatever, and she lets go of the Phoenix Force. It's straight up fire and the Phoenix behind her, and that's how she kills Apocalypse. So you're like, oh shit, they're gonna go into Dark Phoenix as the next movie, and it's gonna be a power that's within her. This movie, they kind of pretend like that never fucking happened, because they lead with a tragic event, like a car accident with her parents happening that she caused, but there's like no mention of the Phoenix or whatever, she's just crazy powerful again. But then they go into fucking space, and they save some astronauts, and the Phoenix Force, which is a cosmic entity, inhabits her body. So it is a cosmic entity in this movie, and apparently, like, her using it in the last movie, we're just gonna forget that that happened. So this is why this movie is like, I have to give it credit, because I've been bitching about something for years, and then it finally gave it to me, but in a way that pissed me off. Like, I didn't think that was possible, but that was my, like, real big plot hole. Like, did that bother you?
Yeah, and then there's some other stuff. The continuity in these movies are so confusing. I can't even figure out if something... The fact that Mystique got killed in this one, which I know with Jennifer Lawrence getting killed, I thought you would have stood up and cheered.
But I love that.
But I didn't... It seemed like that was a whole new continuity mistake to me, but then they've got it so confused where they've gone back and restarted and redone, and I don't even know anymore. It's so confusing. I don't even know what's a continuity mistake anymore.
To be fair, I don't think the writers know. I don't think they're keeping track.
I try to figure it out, and I try to look. I even go back and try to look at, try to remember exactly what happened. I'm so confused. I can't even remember.
You know, it'd be a fun drinking game. Is you take a shot every time you catch continuity mistake in one of these movies. You just destroyed a half hour into it. But let's talk about Mystique dying real quick. So, as I've spoken about multiple times, I hate Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique. She was never as prevalent and as prominent a character like this.
She's the most horrible looking Mystique in this movie.
She is, and so the issue is, she gets cast in First Class as Mystique, and then between First Class and Days of Future Past, she becomes Jennifer fucking Lawrence because of the Hunger Games. So now she's like, I don't want to wear the makeup, I don't want to wear a bodysuit, I want to be me most of the time, which goes against everything that character stands for and is about. She's like, the line in the first movie, she's like, people like you are the reason I was afraid to go to school as a child, and Nightcrawler asked her in the second movie, why don't you always stay hidden? And she's like, I shouldn't have to. That's exactly right. She shouldn't fucking have to. That's who she is. And in this movie, scenes that didn't even make sense, like, not even in public, but she's walking around the mansion as Jennifer Lawrence, and I'm like, if any time where you didn't need to do that.
You be yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's just like, it's Jennifer Lawrence, and she's the star, or whatever. And so what drove me crazy also is, the beginning of this movie, she's the leader. She's the team fucking leader, and I'm like, that's never happened before in the comics. Like, I hated that. And then, so she finally dies, and the trailer gives that away. The trailer shouldn't have given that away, but it totally does. But anyway, she dies, and my issue is, half of me was happy she was dead, the other half of me didn't care. But the movie wanted to be like this big emotional moment where it's like Jean goes past the point of no return, and it's like, now we don't know if we have to save her, if we have to kill her, or what the hell's gonna happen. And it's also the catalyst of Hank, who has known Jean for years at this point. Now all of a sudden just wants to kill her because he kills Mystique. She kills Mystique. And it's the catalyst for Magneto wanting to kill her, even though he hasn't talked to Mystique in forever. Now they team up and they want to go kill her, and the other X-Men are trying to save her. Makes total sense. And that's kind of what kicks off the whole movie. And I didn't give a shit at all, and that was dumb. The costumes fucking terrible. So we wanted legitimate X-Men costumes the entire time these movies have been a thing, and finally at the end of Apocalypse, the very last scene, they tease us with some costumes that are starting to look similar to the comics. Don't do that at all. They just go back to generic flight suits with the yellow X. But even those looked cheap. They looked like they didn't spend much money on them. Everything, in terms of wardrobe, looked cheap. Magneto is rocking his helmet, but it's just black. He's just wearing, the same clothes he had on before. It's like they couldn't even be bothered to design a fucking costume for him this time. He's just like, fuck it.
It really seemed like they were just mailing this movie.
That's what I mean.
Really
it's a bunch of little things where you're just like, I don't think anybody, except for Sophie Turner.
Yeah.
Nobody really gave a fuck about what was happening in this movie. Nobody did. And then so Jessica Chastain, who's shown in the trailers, and we don't know who she is. She's talking to Jean about, the Phoenix Force, and it's in you, and this and that. And oh, what is this? Is this the actual manifestation of the Phoenix Force, communicating with her, or something really cool like that? It's not what that was at all. So she's just a generic alien. Her and some red shirts show up, some cannon fodder. The discount Skrulls, as I was referring to them, because they're shapeshifters into humans, and they're green monsters who are the most inconsistent things in the world, because sometimes they're coming at you as a horde and they're bulletproof, and other times they're super easily killable, including with bullets.
Yeah.
No fucking sense. Sorry, I've been bitching for a while. Go ahead, what question?
So, I agree with everything you've said so far. There's two things I really liked. I really liked that they presented the Phoenix as this cosmic force that entered her as another entity, and just how powerful it was. I really liked that. I think they did a good job with that.
Yeah.
I liked that they had a few scenes where Beast, Storm, you got to see it a lot through Nightcrawler, exercising their mutant abilities through fighting and everything. And I thought those scenes were cool. Those are the cool things I thought about it. That's about it.
Yeah, some of the scenes where they were doing team stuff together, like Quicksilver, when in the space shuttle, getting all the astronauts, that was great.
That was
but again, they realized, hey, he could solve a lot of these problems really easily, so Jean hurts him in the first encounter they have with her, so he's just out of the movie. He's in a third of the movie. But you're right, so when Nightcrawler snaps in the train sequence and starts killing people, that was cool. Yeah. But again, it was just it reminded me of the scene from X2, the opener, where he's going after the president. Or what's his name? Azazel, the red guy from freaking First Class. So it was neat, but nothing we haven't seen before. Storm just flying around shooting lightning, because that's all she ever does in these movies. Ty Sheridan playing Cyclops, he was there and he's in the movie. For the first half of it, he's just oh my god, Jean, I'm so worried about you. And then the last half of the movie, he's like, oh my god, Jean, I'm so worried about you. Shoot. I'm still worried about you though. Just fuck all of this movie. I don't know why he's there. Oh, and then the great thing, I love how...
I hate the way Beast can change back.
Yes, again.
I hate that.
Part of the reason Beast is such a great character is because he's smart and kind-hearted and articulate and just a poetic soul who looks like a monster. And and is nothing on the inside does not reflect that at all. And that's why he's a tragic character.
Right, and the thing that's more tragic was he already had, these kind of ape-like features even when he didn't have blue fur all over him. And then he used some of Mystique's DNA because he was trying to make himself normal.
Right. And it
backfired. And that backfired.
Right.
And then he became even more weird looking.
Again.
And he's stuck that way now. Because of that decision.
And so his worst fear came true times 1,000.
Right.
Which again makes you care about the character.
And when he could I'll just decide to change so I look normal and back and forth. I just hate it. It takes all that away.
The exact same argument with Mystique. It takes completely away from the character. But what I thought was hilarious was, so he and Magneto go on this kill mission to go kill Phoenix, right? To go kill Jean, because she killed Mystique. And they're gonna do it, and they start fighting with the regular X-Men to try to, because they're trying to stop them. And then all of a sudden, Jessica Chastain and the Red Shirts come in because they want the Phoenix Force. So they're like, oh, we can't let her get the Phoenix Force. And Magneto's like, no, fuck that, I'm gonna kill her. And then they're like, that's not what Raven would have wanted. Yeah, making a good point there. Alright, you gotta protect Jean. And then at one point they're even just like, oh, weren't you just trying to kill her? And he's like, yeah, I had to change her heart. That's an actual line in the movie, change your heart. And I'm just like, these writers really just didn't care. It's in the Beast, like, he just changes his mind just on a whim. Like, he's just straight up murder mode. Okay, and let's talk about now how they keep jumping every decade, every movie, right?
First class. Everybody stays the same.
Yeah, first class
everybody stays the same age.
Days of Future Past is the 70s. Apocalypse is the 80s. This is now 92, they say it takes place.
And they all look the same age.
And so I want to say, Fassbender and McAvoy look great for dudes who are in their mid-60s.
I'll tell you about it, yeah. Tell me about it.
And, everybody else, Hank is supposed to be in his 40s at least, maybe pushing 50 by now.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's 25.
Yeah.
And it's great because, Cyclops and all of them, they're introduced as teenagers in the last movie, and it's been 10 years, so we're supposed to buy them being, adults and leaders. He looks like he was about to just go start playing Xbox with the kids, because he's a fucking child. So that is, and it's not even like, hey, let's age him up, let's use CGI, or let's use makeup.
We're not even trying, we don't care.
Nah.
We don't care.
Nah.
This got his bald cap on, okay, good enough. Let's just get him out there.
Yeah, the only one they even tried to explain was Mystique a few movies ago, where there's you don't age because of reasons.
Well, she didn't look anything, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so she looked any age, so there you go.
But they don't even bother, and it's laughable. It's so laughable because you're like, this guy's supposed to be 45 because he looks 25, and I'm rolling. Okay, fuck it. The movie doesn't care. Why should I care? Yeah. And that's how a lot of this movie is. And there were some good parts to it. At the very end, Jean embraces the Phoenix Force because Jessica Chastain is trying to get it out of her, and she's like, fuck it, and she just gives it all to her, and she kind of handles it, so they die. So, for the third time in this franchise of movies, Jean dies. She dies again. Fucking Kitty over here. So she dies, but then at the end, you see the bird flying in the background, and nobody cared. It did end with Magneto and Xavier playing chess. That was kind of cool, kind of a throwback to the first movie. They missed an opportunity for some fan service, I thought, when Xavier was talking to little Jean. He's like, oh no, you're not broken, come to the mansion, whatever, I can help you. I really thought they were setting up for the line. She was going to be like, well, how can you help me? And he was going to be like, you're not the only one with gifts, but psychically, they could claw back. And they just didn't do that, at all. And I'm like, I was waiting for it. Fuck me. I went and saw X-Men, the first X-Men movie, opening weekend 19 years ago. And I was here for this shitty fucking movie 19 years later, but fuck me. So that's... Yeah, don't go watch it. It's not that good. I feel like I'm being really, really mean. It's not Hellboy bad. It was more entertaining than Brightburn.
I mean, at least you could follow the story. Whether you liked it or not, or thought it was any good, at least you knew that there was a kind of a direction they were going, as opposed to Hellboy, where it seemed like there was a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
And...
Yeah, you're right. What they're doing. There was a story, it just wasn't good, or interesting, or entertaining, or anything. But it was there. God, I can't wait for X-Men to come to Disney.
Did you hear that they might not be introducing them for 5 years?
5 years?
That was the last rumor I read, and I almost fell out of my chair. I was, what? Fell onto the ground.
That's believable because they have their shit so planned out in advance.
Yeah, I feel like that might. I wish they would shave at least a couple years off of that.
Yeah, but I would rather them introduce them a good way than rushing it. But you know what? Down the line, at some point, when we're at 1 million subscribers,
that'd be great.
We're gonna get a great X-Men movie.
That'll be something. I'll tell you that.
I had other stuff to say, but I feel like I made my points and beat this movie up a lot. I can't remember.
Okay.
Should have wrote notes. Anything else you want to touch on?
Nah. It was all right. You can catch it when it comes out on the TV.
So you know how we did the top 3 movies of 2018. So we're gonna do that again this year, but we're watching a lot more movies, so I think we'll be able to do a top 3 worst movies.
Yes.
I hate to say it, but so far this is on my list. Unless some really bad stuff comes out, it is not. really good. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. Well, so don't go watch X-Men Dark Phoenix. But hey, thank you for joining us on this episode of the world's greatest news and reviews. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe.
Peace.